And that brings us to the co-main event here for PFL Brussels. And if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button as we break down Jake Hadley taking on Taylor Lapilus. Give me Lapilus here. I think Taylor Lapilus should be able to get this one done. Obviously, both guys, if you're familiar with the UFC, both guys have fought over in the UFC promotion. And let's talk a little bit about Lapilus first. Obviously, a rangy kickboxer, has good takedown defense, can put up a ton of volume. Not known for being a power puncher, but his timing on some of his shots is what really catches people off guard, and his ability to finish. We saw that in his last fight coming off of a TKO victory. What I like about Lapilus is his ability to keep fights standing and just keeping on the same track throughout a fight. He doesn't tend to get overzealous trying to go for a finish. He doesn't all of a sudden turn into a wrestler and decide he's going to wrestle fuck people for 3 rounds. He sticks to what he does. He has a low center of gravity, which helps him really defend takedowns, and he can really put up a ton of volume. And I think in this matchup here against Jake Hadley, he's a nightmare matchup for Jake Hadley. Hadley is a guy that's an opportunistic grappler. We've seen him obviously over in the UFC get out grappled. We've seen him in the UFC get outstruck. And I just think Taylor Lapilus is a little bit better everywhere. I think in terms of the volume, Lapilus should have an advantage on the feet. He does a good job of mixing in kicks. Hadley is a guy that tends to be a little bit more boxing orientated. I think he lacks a little bit of head movement. And as well, at times, he can open up with a lot of damage. And you see with that very sort of pasty skin color being from the UK that I think he doesn't wear damage well. If it comes down to the grappling, obviously Hadley in terms of the jiu-jitsu, I would say he's probably the better all-out BJJ practitioner, but we saw that with the Scottish Twister, obviously, but he doesn't have the wrestling to get fights to the ground, so it's more of an opportunistic grappling skill set, and he has to work very hard to get takedowns, and Lapilus is a guy that will make you work really hard for takedowns. I think Lapilus keeps this one on the feet, defends the takedowns, and ultimately has success in the striking against Hadley. I could see Lapilus really chewing up the lead leg of Hadley with the calf kicks. I could see him attacking the body with the kicks as well, and I think ultimately Lapilus here is just going to be able to be one step ahead in the striking. I think Hadley is a guy that if he can't really mix in takedowns and he has success on the feet, it's only really going to be with the hands, and I think Lapilus is going to get ahead on the numbers with the kicks and ultimately win this one via decision. So give me Taylor Lapilus in this co-main event. Let's see who Carlos has got in this one.
Okay, in this one, I'm going to take Lapilus to get it done. I just think he's got a lot of physical advantages. They're going to get this done. He's got some wide shoulders, long arms. He's also a very accurate striker. He can fight at distance. He can fight in the clinch. And, he can fight on the ground, if it gets there, because he's got good takedown defense. He can get back up as well. With that reach, what he does is he kind of uses that to stifle his opponent from coming forward. If they're coming forward and it seems like it's an aggressive attack, he kind of just puts his hand on their shoulder and pivots out a little bit. He doesn't circle all the way out, do a full 3/4 turn, but just that little bit of an angle he takes, and he's able to counter from there. Whereas Hadley, I think that's going to start to frustrate him a little bit, and he's going to start to throw some wild strikes. And when I say wild, I don't mean that he's going to start looping. I just think that he throws and hopefully it lands sometimes. He's a smart fighter too. He's pretty good, but the thing is, once he gets a little frustrated, he just starts to go. And I think at that point, you're going to throw, you're not going to land accurately, and you're going to leave those openings for Lapilus. And when you start getting touched up a little bit and you can't hit your opponent back, Hadley starts to go for some takedowns, and that's not really his game, but he starts doing that. And from there, I just think he's going to have to come from so far out. I think Lapilus is going to see it coming. And, to be honest with you, I just think the reach, the physical size of Lapilus is probably going to be too much of an issue for Hadley. And obviously the fight IQ of Lapilus, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, capitalizes on a lot of opportunities. So I can see Lapilus getting this one done.